So Brago, please tell people about the chapter and what would you like people to know about the chapter?
Um, it was a fun chapter. Um, Obviously, I like One Piece chapter 919. You'd have to ask me more questions about the chapter. It's like I can't just give you a whole spiel. I don't even know what time travel is about.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Stop playing! What the fuck? Stop playing! What the fuck is that? Ah! What the fuck is that? I'm scared!
Oh shit!
Okay, what's poppin'? We got another one. And today, I'm here to talk about One Piece chapter 919. But before we get into that, I just gotta talk to the people that were, I guess they were liking where One Piece was going because they could talk shit. They could talk shit about the chapters, and they could say that One Piece is trash, and they could say that Oda has fallen off, and damn, he had to come bring time travel into it. And I get it. I get it. You're upset. You don't know how it's going to work, and you really feel like this is something that throughout history it has been messed up. It's been done horribly. Your hate train kind of stalled because this was a very good chapter. But anyway, enough of the negativity because this was a great chapter. Yo, I like when we get back to back good chapters or great chapters like this one with intense revelations because my G. Not only do we have a lot of shit to talk about, I can see the people going crazy on Twitter. I can see people going crazy in the chat with the live reactions. And this shit completely floored me. My whole day, I was wondering and making sure I was in my current timeline. It fucked me. It threw me off. But before we get to the intense, exciting, overwhelming, not contradicting because it was foreshadowed, revelation from the last page, let's talk about some other shit first, right? Because that's what they do in videos like this. We talk about other shit first, and then you get to the juice at the end. It's like foreplay, and then okay, first off, I gotta talk about Speed because Speed is making me feel some type of way. Speed is hella thick. Like, I did not realize how thick Speed was. I know up top she was crazy, but she got an ass on her, man. Apparently, Luffy and Zoro, and they're okay with Speed taking Tama. That kind of threw me off a little bit because I'm like, yo, that she was literally the enemy 5 seconds ago. But Tama and her Mochi, apparently it can control the gifters and the headliners, anybody who's eating a smile fruit. So it's starting to make more sense why Kaido and his crew would want someone like Tama. That's like a definite, like, powerful power. A powerful power. The fuck? A power you would like to have in your possession. You know what would have been interesting? If we had found out that Doflamingo as well was trying to get Tama to in some way get a jump on Kaido to eventually take him down. Of course, that's the Dofi fanboy in me speaking, but back to the matter at hand. If you the Dango as an animal, it seems like you become her servant, and that's kind of fucking crazy. That's like ridiculously powerful for the situation that we're in. So her going away with Speed, it's worrisome because it seems like she's going right into the enemy's grasp. But based on what they said, it should be okay. I'm not sure about it. Okay, so a few things. First, Kiku. She seemed a bit suspicious here, right? At the beginning of the chapter, she was saying things and she was having internal thoughts that Oda was showing us. And Zoro was very perceptive here. Zoro caught up on him and was like, yo, she's obviously hiding something from us. And Luffy was just being the typical Luffy guy, the typical Luffy that he is, and being reassuring, like, yo, you're a strong person, you're a kind person, don't worry about anything. And Kiku, she's worrying about going to see Oden's castle. And at that point, we're like, why does Kiku care about going to see Oden's castle? Like, is she the traitor? I was saying that that other chick that was with them, that she would be a traitor. I don't know anymore. But for right now, Kiku it was bothering me a little bit why she was so worried about going to see Oden's castle. It was like, was she a part of Oden's castle being destroyed? It was bothering me. But we got more information, of course, obviously, as the chapter went on. Another thing that kind of stood out to people was the fact that Law had an issue with Luffy being such a benevolent guy. And I gotta say that Law was just being coy. We talked about this in the live reaction in the discussion. That Law would do the same thing that Luffy would do, where he would save a country if they were starving. He saved kids when nobody else could help them. He didn't have to do that. Where Law, I think when he sees Luffy, it's sometimes he sees some of himself, some of the weaknesses as a pirate. Because as a pirate, you don't want to be that soft-hearted if you want to look at it that way. So Law is just like, yo, I hate a benevolent pirate. Because he sees himself in Luffy. So in some way, he's just being coy, guys. Law is not being serious. The people are trying to say, is this Law starting to become the guy that could betray Luffy? No, that's not it. Well, at least that's how I interpret it. But it goes without saying. You know what? Sometimes, you know what annoys me? When you gotta say, in my opinion, when you're giving your goddamn opinion. It's not fact. It's my opinion. That's how I view things. So I think sometimes saying, in my opinion, of course, you're trying to not be as offensive or not be as not steadfast, just like come off as a fucking prick, right? When you say, in my opinion, because when you just say something without saying that, people think you're stating it as fact. I'm like, how? Unless it's actual fact, obviously it's my opinion. And that's the end of my opinion rant. So we also got some information as far as like how kids are being brought up in this country, and they're calling it an isolationist country, right? And pretty much they're telling the kids that they're isolated from everybody else because they want to keep evil ideals out. And the story that they're sending is that Oden was the bad guy in this situation, and Orochi, he was the good guy. And Oden has had his 9 red scabbards. I know there's been theories around the community. I know Jordan made a 7 samurai theory that was pretty close to this. So and of course, I should have said this earlier, but shout out to Marco, the One Piece theorist, because he made a theory related around time travel, and he covered some of the things that happened in this chapter. So Marco his theory was pretty close. So shout out to Marco. That was dope. I appreciate Marco. I think he's one of the best theorists out there. Probably the best when he was going him in One World, But for right now, if you haven't seen that video, go watch Marco's video. Obviously, it came out before this chapter. A very good theory that kind of had the community a buzz for a while, and I certainly enjoyed it. And I thought, like, when I was going through the theory and watching it, I was like, yo, it seems pretty legit based on the information he gave. I was like, yo, Marco's good. And the thing is, Marco doesn't drop theories every day, every month. It takes a while for him to get a theory out, but once he does, it's going to be well structured, a lot of detail, and you're going to somewhat believe it. So shout out to Marco, the One Piece theorist. So again, the story is that Oden was trying to open the borders and allow in evil ideals and evil things. And the thing is, they're saying they're blocking people from, or they're being isolated so that things such as evil ideals and essentially, people want what they have in Wano, so that's why they're keeping everyone out. The teacher seems to be a smile user or a long neck. I'm thinking a smile user because she had a snake tongue and all that shit. But then she goes on to say these people died 20 years ago, and that was very confusing considering the end of the last chapter in which we had the tombstones of Raizo, Kinemon, Kanjuro, and those guys was like, okay, what is she saying they died 20 years ago? So it's like, okay, they obviously faked their death 20 years ago. But it still doesn't make sense because Momonosuke is like 8, right? So he's like, if they faked their death 20 years ago, does this Momonosuke not the real Momonosuke? Was it a body transfer? Like, was Ginyu involved? What was going on here? So it was like a lot of questions up to this point. Okay, something that was on my mind for a little bit was that the guy that was giving them information is Imemuri Koyoshiro. And I was like, could this guy be related to Koshiro? Is this his brother or some relative or something? But this thing is Koshiro his last name? I don't fucking know sometimes with Japanese and like how the last name and the first name. All we have is Koshiro. That's the name. And this guy's name is Inamuri Koyoshiro. So I don't know if it's something there, but I thought that was pretty interesting. But this guy gave us some more information. He said that 20 years ago, Oden's wife stood in front of the burning building, which was the castle, and said these words: "You are like the moon who knows not of the dawn. If there's one ardent wish that can be fulfilled, then it shall be the one where 9 shadows are cast, woven together through 20 years of moonlit nights. Only then shall you know the radiance of dawn." Of course, that was extremely interesting because it mentioned a lot of things that we had some information about, like the mention of moonlight and the mention of dawn, and we think about the Minks, and we think about Luffy and Shanks, and even Dragon at this point. Well, not yet. I'll get to the Dragon thing. But we were thinking about all these things like they could all be interwoven in a way because we had back then where Pedro was saying Nakamushi and Inarashi, they absolutely cannot die. Like, the world is waiting for them. And we even talked about Pedro when he was about to die again. He told Carrot something about the dawn and all this shit. So it's just like, what's going on? The Minks and how the moonlight affects them. So, of course, this curse or this incantation, it had something to do with this stuff, and that was extremely interesting. I'm sure we're going to get more of what this actually means going forward, and I'm sure this was intricate to what happened at the end. Koyoshiro broke it down even more and said, on a moonlit night, there's going to be 9 samurai that appear, and they're going to basically come for vengeance. And it was just like, That's the prophecy that they're thinking. And this is the 20th year. And of course, it's no coincidence because Luffy and those guys, they're in the country. Also, Luffy's carrying around a sword, so I'm not sure if he's going to be counted as one of the 9 samurai. I would expect that. And of course, on a moonlit night for the minks, that's going to be a problem for Wano and of course the Shogun and Kaido and all those boys because they're going to be extremely powerful. So I really can't wait for it to get there, but I'm enjoying the build-up. They also mentioned that the Shogun is scared out of his mind and that he's a 2-sword style user. So he's probably a samurai, a strong samurai, older guy because this is 20 years ago. But for him to be that scared, it seems like it's a guy that is pretty powerful but kind of insecure based on how he took power. So there are things that worries him. Of course, when you see these in movies, these guys, they're really powerful. They have a lot of strength, but like small things, it affects them, right? So for this guy, I expect him to be really insecure. You know, you have those villains that's just angry all the time, that people have to tiptoe around them. That's how I expect Orochi to be because here he's not sure when things are going to come to a halt. And this is the 20th year. So I'm sure he was doing everything in his power to make sure that cannot happen, right? So we'll see what happens with Orochi. Anyway, we get to the final parts of the chapter. Kiku starts crying and runs off. We meet up with Kinemon, and Kinemon has diarrhea apparently because whatever, he has diarrhea. Zoro gets lost. But then we get into the meat and potatoes of everything, and they go inside of the ruins, and they break down exactly what is going on here. Well, before that, Kiku comes back, and it seems like her and Kinemon has something going on. Apparently, he's her senpai. That could mean several different things based on how she embraced him. And even Law was like, yeah, I think they're more than acquaintances. So I wouldn't be surprised if they got married back in the day, or they planned to get married or something like that, something of that sort. That's the endearment I got between the two of them. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. So of course we see Momo, we see all the Straw Hats, we see the crew again, and it was great seeing Sanji again. I gotta say that was great seeing Sanji and those guys again. Of course, Robin was also in the chapter, kind of low key, but she was in the chapter. If you go through the chapter again, you will see Robin. But for the most part, that was not the part of the chapter that got everyone crazy. The part that drove people crazy was Kinemon mentioning that they came from the Wano of 20 years ago by traveling from the past to the future, traveling forward in time. So how they did that, we're not sure. It could be a devil fruit. It could be that they were frozen in time. It could be several different things. But the reason why I'm liking this concept is because they're traveling forward in time. They're not going backwards to affect the timeline. The timeline is what it is, but they're traveling forward to, I guess, fix things that happened in the past. Now people are saying like, why did you travel 1 year or 2 years? Well, they traveled 20 years so that they could accumulate the necessary squad and forces to oppose Orochi and Kaido. I'm assuming Kaido joined forces with Orochi back then to take down Oden, right? Because we know back then, after Roger's death, it was probably jockeying for position. This is obviously after the Rocks Pirates, assuming Kaido was a part of that. After the Rocks Pirates, these guys have established themselves, and this is Kaido kind of forcing his way onto other people's territories. Like, yo, let's start an alliance. You will be under me, under my territory. And this is 20 years ago. So very interesting shit with this timeline stuff. Of course, now it makes a lot of sense with Kinemon and how he thought Zoro was the one who stole the sword. But then recent events in Wano, one of the guys was like, yeah, you can't be the guy that stole the sword because you would be too young to do so. So it showed that Kinemon, as far as his perception of time, it seems like they did not endure that, or they did not feel the passing of time. So something happened in which was almost immediate where they did not feel that. They know that they traveled forward, but to them, these events happened recently. Even when Momo was talking about it, you could tell it was something that is currently affecting him. When we talked about Raizo, the Raizo thing, of course, and how much they went through to protect Raizo. Because hear this, if Jack had found Raizo, that's almost confirmation that all these people did indeed survive and that a threat is imminent. For me, that I had to ask the question, do we have a traitor in our midst? How would they find out that these people traveled 20 years into the future? How? Unless someone that traveled 20 years into the future as well turned and told everyone what was going on, because Jack was certain that Raizo was on Zou. And for some reason, I don't know, he found out. So a lot of these things are starting to make a lot more sense. Of course, a reread of Zou is happening to kind of there's certain quotes that I want to see again and reread again and get the whole essence of Zou. But I like this. We're gonna get more in depth with it when we do the discussion tonight. This video may not be up before the discussion. It may be up after the fact. So I hope you guys enjoyed the discussion tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. More videos to come, more theories to come. I hope I appreciate all the support. And for, you know, I know sometimes people don't like my opinions, but then people say I don't have an opinion. But when I do say something or have an opinion, they think my opinion is trash. Fuck you. I don't know. But anyway, like the video, subscribe, and I appreciate all the support again. I'll catch you guys later.